Naruto is the best anime. You know, it's one of those main childhood animes that, you know, most people have seen, and I personally, it's my favorite. So I'm gonna be watching a video today that's about Naruto and why it's better than you think it is. So let's get into this video.
Naruto? What? Why is Bonsai Pop covering Naruto? Look, hear me out. Naruto changed my life. I honestly cannot tell you how much.
Bro, that Naruto intro was honestly different. Like, I don't know, it was just different. The nostalgia, that was one of them intros. Almost every Naruto intro is insanely nostalgic, obviously, to any fucking Naruto fan. But that one right there, it just hit different. I don't know why, it just hit different. I'm not gonna lie though. Damn.
I despised Naruto when I was in high school. It was a little past my time, so it was mostly freshmen and middle school kids running around with their arms out and wearing goofy headbands and being absolutely intolerable weebs. And for a relatively edgy young adult rocking in punk bands at the time, Naruto instantly came off as straight up cringe. But
bro, everybody that was a fan of Naruto is doing that shit, bro. Maybe not the headbands and shit, but that run, that Naruto ninja run is iconic, bro. Anyone who ever seen that show was doing that shit, and if you couldn't afford a headband, then you would fucking just take a bandana and tie that shit around your head and do that run, bro. Like, I remember being a kid playing outside, and I'd just be running like that, thinking I'm running faster and shit. And I think it actually doesn't do shit to make you faster, but it's just, when you were a child, bro, like, you can't lie, if you were a fan, any of us Naruto fans, 100% did that shit.
one day in my early 20s, I was bored, so I decided to watch it. Something came over me, an idea. Know your enemy, right? You see, what I figured was that if something is incredibly popular, there must be something good about it. Something that speaks to the audience in a way that anybody can understand it. So I sat down and I watched episode 1, 720 episodes, and 2 months later, I had finished what is still one of my favorite anime of all time. And in preparation for this episode, I took a week in October and I read the entire manga, so I think I am prepared for our first of what I am sure is to be many videos on the masterpiece. And I do not say that hyperbolically, that is Naruto. Let's get into it. Let the show. Now, just so you know, when I say Naruto, I mean the whole thing. The original and Shippuden together. I mean, it's all one story of the gutsy ninja Naruto, so there's no reason to disambiguate. But man.
Bro, Shippuden was arguably better than the original Naruto. Now, the original Naruto was obviously iconic and is what drew a lot of fans in. That Chunin exams arc was just different, of course, and I always have a special place in my heart. But I personally prefer Shippuden, probably because I'm older now, but when I was younger, even when I was younger, and you just seen that first scene of Naruto, like when he came back to the village with Jiraiya, and you climbed to the top of that like pole thing on the village, and he was just standing there overlooking the village. Bro, that shit was just iconic. It was like, damn, Naruto really he really grown now. It's like, damn, bro.
Like, where do you even start with this one? I can tell you my favorite characters are Master Guy and Rock Lee, or that I can't tell if it's Naruto or Sakura who is the biggest Sasuke simp, but I guess I'll just flip on a little bit of Wu-Tang and let it flow.
Shaolin shadow boxing and the Wu-Tang sword style. Do you think your Wu-Tang sword can defeat me?
No matter who you are, how old you are, where you come from, there's something within Naruto that is going to speak to you. The mangaka Masashi Kishimoto went through a ton of trial and tribulation in his own life in order to produce this story, and his wisdom is sprinkled throughout the entire narrative. While the series is technically a shonen, there's many aspects of it that border on a seinen anime. I was actually...
Yeah, nah, now that I've actually... I know like the type of genres of animes, because I never knew them up until a couple months ago, because I wasn't really into anime. Like, I watched the classic shit when I was younger, like, you know, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto obviously, and a couple others when I was a couple years later. But recently I kind of, you know, started getting into some seinen animes, and I didn't know the difference of genres within anime. You know, you think, okay, there's only anime that's like made for kids and shit, but seinen's made for like younger adults and shit like that. So it has heavier themes, you know, like death, murder, you know, heavier shit, sexual assault, and all of those types of heavy themes that are very real and very gritty and gruesome as well. And when I think back to how gruesome and how gritty Naruto actually was, obviously there's elements in Naruto that obviously a lot of it is themed for children, but when you look deeper and look behind what the show actually is, you see like, damn, there's a lot of deep shit going on. There's a lot of political things happening as well within the show, and it definitely borderlines on seinen anime for sure.
Actually pretty shocked at the amount of blood and visceral violence on my first watch, but you know I like that stuff, so obviously it just leveled up the experience. Naruto himself is more or less a perfect underdog, at least at the start. He's an outcast, a class clown, a prankster. It all comes from his desire for attention. Not only is he a ninja ward of the state, but everyone just kind of hates him. So he's a punk. He deflects the hate by acting out in order to deserve that hate. And as someone who was certainly an angry young man at one point, Naruto's character is a scathing.
Yeah, Naruto just had no attention at all as a kid, and most kids are always going to seek attention. Like, kids need attention in order to grow, and it's something that a lot of kids just need. Naruto never really got that as a child, so you know, his parents weren't around. And fuck that third Hokage though. Like, that third Hokage was genuinely fucking around, bro. Man's promised Minato on his deathbed and Kushina, like, I'ma take care of your kid. And then just never took care of Naruto. Just literally let the kid live in a horrible ass apartment, no food. Like, Naruto was living off of just fucking ramen and shit. Like, bro, they treated him bad, bro. Like, bad. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? So you'd rather do this shit to get attention from the villagers and stuff, fuck around, cause trouble, instead of just, I mean, because he never got attention from any family members or anybody. And the village demonized him for that, and because of the Jinchuriki inside of him, so, yeah.
Reflection. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who can relate to that. And just like any other disenfranchised young person, his main desire is acceptance, so he's always shooting for the stars. In his case, specifically becoming Hokage, i.e. the most powerful and respected shinobi in the village of the Hidden Leaf. A ninja rock star, and naturally he constantly falls flat on his face in his attempts to become better and own his skills. It also doesn't help that he's partnered with the class genius and bad boy Sasuke, who's just good at everything and is also a total dick. On top of that, Naruto's crush Sakura is there as well, but she's head over heels for Sasuke and hates Naruto. The poor kid's ineptitude is constantly thrown in his face. You see, I've noticed lately that people seem to feel really bad about themselves, like more than ever, and I think part of that is how big the world is now. Growing up, I think a lot of us had a Sasuke, but with the advent of the internet, it's like there's a million Sasukes for each person. Like, I used to think I was good at Smash Bros, right? And then the internet showed me that I don't even know what Smash Bros is. How are we supposed to feel good about ourselves, and what do we do when there's some 12-year-old already kicking our asses at what we've been practicing for years? How are we supposed to march on with people like Eye Patch Sensei pumping out classics and getting all that love? Well, I'll get there. You see, there's a lot of hate
in this shinobi world of ours. I've always wanted to do something about all of this hatred. I'm just not quite sure how to go about it as of yet. But I truly believe that eventually the day will come when all people will understand one another and live in harmony.
One of Naruto's greatest strengths as a series and my biggest obstacle as a creator is its wealth of characters. Anything that the main cast lacks is made up by its amazing cast of supporting characters. Each one is an individual with their own beliefs and problems and philosophies, from mentors like Kakashi and Jiraiya to peers like Shikamaru, Neji, and Gaara. However, each and every shinobi exists within a world.
Yeah, philosophies and you know, as they call it in the show, the ninja ways, somebody's ninja ways, it's a big deal. Somebody's view, the way they view life, the way they view comrades, it's a very big point in Naruto. Mindsets and philosophies are a really huge thing in that show. And that's something I can really appreciate. For something that's supposed to be made for like little kids, that's a huge, deep thing that, you know, I didn't get when I was younger, that you understand when you're older and you watch it a little bit better from a different perspective. Like, okay, nah, this is actually deeper than I thought it was. And the way the world works is viewed by every person differently, because every person's philosophy and it's, I mean, it's accurate, bro. That's real life.
world of constant conflict which breeds hatred and fear, but also close bonds between individuals. And nobody knows hatred and fear or the importance of bonds like Naruto. You see, Naruto is a Jinchuriki, meaning he has a Biju stuck inside of him, and his Biju, the nine-tailed fox Kurama, is a particularly nasty entity. And while this makes for interesting storytelling, it's also a physical representation of the hate that lives within people, the anger and jealousy and wrath that we work to hold down in order to exist within the bounds of societal norms. At first, when Naruto is in danger or particularly pissed off, the fox seeps out, taking over his senses and granting him an instant boost in power and ability. It's a very Star Wars given to the dark side kind of motif, the idea that giving in to the primal instincts within gives immediate and great power, whereas controlling those instincts gives one the wisdom and discipline to wield that great power more effectively. Philosophically, Naruto as a series is a powerhouse. Like his character, Naruto's personal ideology is extremely simple. I never go back on my word. However, there is power in simplicity and especially tenacity. It takes a lot of willpower to never go back on your word, especially when extraneous circumstances come into conflict with said pledges. Going with your gut takes a lot of courage, but also confidence, which, like I mentioned before, is something this modern shinobi world is lacking. It's hard to be self-assured when it seems like the world is constantly trying to remind you that you are subpar. Maybe you're an artist with 15 followers on Twitter, or a musician trying to get noticed on Bandcamp, or a lawyer fighting for partner, or us trying to climb the ladder of Anitube. No matter what you do, there always seems to be someone ahead of you, doing better than you, moving past you with ease. We're always chasing the backs of those in front of us, and realistically, that's never going to change. It's just far more obvious now because everything seems to have a numerical value attached to it. However, it's important to remember that you can hike the same mountain as your senpai, but take a completely different route. If you don't give up, you'll reach the top in your own way. And at the same time, while you're chasing somebody else's back, somebody is going to be chasing your back. And I think what matters most is who you are at the top, much more than the fact that you got there. Experience is what differentiates us. Someone who gets a helicopter ride will never know the crags and canyons like someone who climbed them. The whole ordeal is frustrating. There's too many people looking up or looking down. This world needs more eye contact. Now, while eventually the story of Naruto comes into conflict with his character, the core idea of the narrative remains firm. Unfortunately, Naruto goes from being this underdog nobody to someone not only special, but special from birth. Much of his ability is genetic or enhanced by his Biju. It's kind of a bummer. But I think Kishimoto sensei realized that and made an effort to keep Naruto in check by forcing him to realize that no matter how powerful he becomes, he will always need the help of others, which is juxtaposed against many of the antagonists in the series going solo against the world, especially Sasuke. There is a very cyclical nature to the story that simplifies the real-world experience of bequeathing the future to others. We get to literally see how will and ambition and skill are passed down generation to generation through characters like Pain and Orochimaru. We see how sometimes that will can be twisted, but through Jiraiya and Naruto, we can see how will can eventually break a cycle. Our time on this planet is random and short. Ideas and hopes aren't always something that can be achieved during a single lifetime. In fact, more often it takes multiple generations for these dreams to snowball into reality. That doesn't
Yeah, Naruto was the one to break this generational curse, you know, generations of ninjas, of hate, overcoming many ninjas, and Naruto came in and, you know, he was one of those people. You know, there's a couple of them in the show, but he was one of the main people to not let hate overcome him. You know, he was one of those people in the show that could have easily turned out to be like how Sasuke used to be. He could have easily turned out to be Obito. Like, him and Obito genuinely mirror each other in terms of Obito is who Naruto would have been, you know, or could have been at any given point. But Naruto chose not to become that. So
that doesn't mean lighting the fire is not worth it just because you don't get to see the end result. Doing something is always better than doing nothing. MLK didn't get to see his dream come true, but people are out there fighting still to improve our country for everyone. Speaking of which, Naruto is an
Yo, rest in peace, Jiraiya, though. Like, damn, bro. When that man died, bro. I'm speaking like it's some real life shit, but nah, yo, when Jiraiya died, everyone low-key felt that shit. High-key felt that shit. Like, it was heavy, bro. Naruto never even got to say goodbye to him. It sucked, bro. Like, fuck Pain, bro. Like, all my homies hate Pain, though. Like, for real.
excellent example of inclusivity in anime and manga. The village hidden in the clouds is not only full of, but run by people of color, and it's never even mentioned or pointed out. That's just the way it is, and it's dope. Within the shinobi world, it's totally normalized and respected. And then there's the rapping Killer Bee, one of the best characters in the series and 100% a Wu-Tang Clan reference, lending even more credence to Kishimoto sensei, so you best protect your neck cause the Killer Bees gun swarm. Bee is not only incredibly powerful and respected, but he's also enlightened and at peace with his bijou. Like Jiraiya before him, he becomes a bit of a spiritual mentor to Naruto, and the Waterfall of Truth is a particularly powerful moment in the story. In order to fully utilize his abilities as a Jinchuriki, Naruto has to face a part of himself he'd rather not see. And if you don't think that we all have that, you're kidding yourself. We have a person that lives inside of us that we absolutely despise, maybe even fear, someone we couldn't tell our closest friends about. At first, Naruto's strategy is to attack this shadow version of himself, but that's not exactly how it works, is it? Unfortunately, the worst part of ourselves are still part of us. You cannot remove it like a tumor. The only thing you can do is accept it and learn to incorporate it into yourself until you are a truly homogeneous mix. You see, no matter how bad that part of you may be, it still exists as part of the reason you're climbing whatever hill you're on, and you'll never make it to the peak unless you know why you're there in the first place. What do you really want? What is your goal? Personally, for me, I want to know everything about everything so one day I can create something spectacular. I want to know the ins and outs of everything I'm passionate about and distill it into exactly what I'm missing, what I've always wanted to see. And this video here is just practice. I'm always practicing, always reaching higher. In the shinobi world, for the first Hokage Hashirama, Jiraiya, and eventually Naruto, the goal is to someday lead the world towards understanding, to stop the spread of hate just a little bit more, to create just a little bit more unity. And all of that starts with the individual learning to accept yourself and then to accept.
Oh, this fight right here, Naruto versus Sasuke, I think this was the first fight that I had. I had many fights before this, but this was like the first proper one. I remember seeing this for the first time. I was absolutely amazed. When I was younger, the fight was so brutal to me. Like, and I'd watched hella Dragon Ball Z shit, but this fight was just something about it. Just like I felt every punch, I felt every hit. It was just, the animations were so smooth, and obviously it had parts of it where the animation got janky. But like, I mean, which anime doesn't? Maybe Jujutsu Kaisen, but you know. But yeah, this is generally one of the best anime fights, period, like ever. Like, I'm being 100% serious. The fighting motions were so clean, the storyline, and Naruto was whooping Sasuke's ass at points, bro. I was like, damn, bro, bring this man back to the village now, bro. Like, I just couldn't understand why Sasuke was the way he was. But you know, I'm glad Sasuke turned his life around.
Others, and in reality, that's all you can do. You can't expect things from other people, but you can be the change that you want to see in the world. And I think if we all did that, we'd see the world become a better place. Even to this day, unfortunately, Naruto gets a bad rap, and I'm gonna be honest, as an anime, it is not perfect. There is a lot of filler in there that you'll have to either sit through or use a guide to avoid. However, having both watched and read the series, I can succinctly say that the anime does.
Yeah, the filler is really bad, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I watched the anime, I probably did watch it with filler, but then when I watched it again, I didn't watch the filler because it just gets to a point, you know, with the amount of filler in there. But there are some really, really good filler episodes. I'm not gonna lie, there are some A-grade filler episodes. If you compare filler to other anime and shit like that, Naruto has some of the best filler episodes. But yeah, you know, it's not perfect, but Naruto's always in the conversation of like the big three, right? It's always Dragon Ball, Naruto, and then Bleach, One Piece. Those are the two that like people throw around. One Piece is definitely solidified, but for Naruto to do what it did for its time, just like Dragon Ball started all of this, right? And then Naruto's right up there next to that. So Dragon Ball always has a special place in my heart, but Naruto was just one of those animes that really touched my heart, like on a different level. Even though I seen Dragon Ball first, and Dragon Ball's definitely up there, definitely probably my second favorite, you know, all-time great anime. I wouldn't say my favorite, but my all-time great anime. Naruto's definitely number one, though.
add to the overall experience. You get more time with the other characters, you get to know them much better than you do in the manga, and you get to see how they impact not only Naruto himself, but the other minor characters as well, to the point where they're each fleshed out enough to do entire episodes on. And I don't mean just in the anime, I mean here on Bonsai Pop as well. There is an intricate web of relationships and alliances and hopes that permeate the narrative and bring the world of Naruto to life in a way the manga just did not have room for. Even Ichiraku Ramen kind of becomes a character in its own way in the anime, which again, the manga just didn't accentuate as hard. But here's where we come full circle back to my original question. How are we supposed to feel good about ourselves when things are always so covered in doubt? When the mountain in front of us seems too high to even begin climbing? Well, the answer is simple, but the action is hard. Never give up. For instance, Bonsai Pop didn't start out of nowhere. Tyler and I have worked for 6 years to get here. We failed many times before we could bring you a little video about a gutsy ninja. This summer in particular was one of the hardest we've faced on this platform, but we're back, baby. We pushed through, we fought on, our friends and our patrons helped us along the way. Nobody walks through this world alone, no matter how much hate.
Yeah, bro, doing YouTube is genuinely hard as fuck. You have no idea what's actually gonna hit the algorithm or not. Sometimes you get shadow banned, sometimes you're getting thousands of views, and then all of a sudden it just drops. It's a risky thing, but once you've built up that fan base, and once you've built up that base of like people that fuck with you, and you know you have that base of subscribers, I think you at a steady place. But it's always up and down. You never really know until you reach that point of like, yo, I'm established as fuck. Until you see one of those plaques, I ain't gonna lie. So
there is. And even if you feel like you're alone, you're here with me right now. I made this video for you. Maybe you liked it. Obviously we have something in common, right? So think about that. And in the meantime, go watch Naruto or read it. There's so much to love. So yeah, Naruto changed my life. It showed me that maybe if you think you hate something, you'll end up loving it in the end.
Yo, shout out Bonsai Pop, insane video. I really fucked with it. This was one of my first times reacting to something through the anime. You know, I might do a couple more of these videos. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Like I said, let me know in the comments what's your favorite anime, or your big three, you know what I'm saying? But Naruto, you know, that's my shit, that's my shit. I need to finish watching One Piece. I watched a couple episodes of One Piece. Back in the day, I watched like maybe like 2-3 seasons. I forgot a lot about it, so I watched a couple and then I stopped, but I might get back into it. But anyway, shout out Bonsai Pop. Insane video. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna see you guys. Peace out.